from the Carrier Dome in Syracuse, New York, it's the main event. A scheduled 15-round fight for the WBC Welterweight Championship of the World between WBC welterweight title holder Sugar Ray Leonard and the number 6-ranked WBC contender Larry Bonds. Ringside here at the Carrier Dome, I'm Barry Tompkins along with Marvin Hagler. Larry Merchant, our expert commentator, also on hand, of course. Just about set to get started with all the pre-fight festivities. Larry Bonds and Sugar Ray Leonard. I think it's interesting, and you've talked time and again, Marvin, about how you had to struggle for fights. Everybody wanted to avoid you. You know, the biggest purse that Larry Bonds has ever had coming into this fight was $2,000. So he has really had to struggle quite a lot.
He's got to be very hungry, and I'm going to tell you something. He's got to go out there for this fight with everything he's got because there's no tomorrow.
He has said that in order to win this fight, in addition to the fact that he feels, and it's interesting that you don't really feel that way, that he's got to go 15 rounds, he said he's going to have to change his look on 3 or 4 different occasions, that you just can't do anything the same round in and round out with a guy like Sugar Ray Leonard.
No, Leonard is very well schooled, and he's very crafty, and he'll look for things like that if he see any changes up.
One of the things you talked about, the fact that we've talked time and again, in fact, about the fact how tough it was for you to get fights. And as we mentioned, Larry Bonds has been plagued with the same kind of problem. Bob Lewis is his trainer, and he has always had to kind of be a second banana. First it was to Ron Lyle. Now it's the guy named Michael Dokes, who's an up-and-comer. And that's been one of the things that he's really complained about. He said Lewis is going to have to start doing something, that he's kind of kowtowing to some of the promoters in saying, we don't want to fight your guy because he might beat us. So I think you went through the same things. You can empathize with Larry Bonds.
It took me a long time, really, in order to get out there for a championship. Nobody wanted to fight. None of the top 10 contenders. So I believe that fights like this here, if he wins tonight, everybody's going to want to fight him. Whether you're right-handed, southpaw, or whatever, they're all going to want to fight him tonight.
Sugar Ray Leonard has said time and again that it's a lot easier to fight as the champion of the world than it is to fight as the challenger. And that, again, is something that Marvin Hagler can relate to.
Well, I tell you, I believe that my second title defense, which comes up in June against Vito Antuofermo, I do feel a little bit more relaxed. But still, you work harder as a champion.
Talk to me about training a little bit. Is it an easy thing to talk yourself into the fact that you're doing everything for a fight like the Larry Bonds fight as you did for a fight like the Roberto Duran fight, or in your case, the Alan Minter fight as opposed to the Obo Majias fight?
Every fight you have to take as though it's a championship fight. That is the way that I train. That's the way I've always trained, and that's the way I'm going to continue to train.
What do you do in this case if you're Sugar Ray Leonard? People say you got to carry the guy for a little bit of time. Obviously, everybody looks at this fight and says this is just a tune-up fight because everybody knows that Sugar Ray Leonard's next opponent is a left-hander, even though Ayub Kalule is a very different-looking left-hander than is Larry Bonds. He's more of an upright fighter, and he's got a bigger punch than Larry Bonds. What do you do if you're Sugar Ray Leonard? Just go out there and try to get him, try to confuse him right at the beginning, and just not let him get away with anything?
I think he almost has to do what Duran did, and that's put the pressure on him right from the beginning. And he's got a great following here tonight in the Dome, and you can see how all the people are very enthusiastic about him being here. And I think you're going to see a good fight because when the crowd's behind him, he seems to razzle him, get him really going, and I think the crowd helps him to motivate, gets him motivated, and his speed just comes right out.
He really does. In fact, the guy is really a salesman. He put 25,000 bodies into the Carrier Dome here in Syracuse, did so all by his lonesome, I think, because I don't think it was Larry Bonds that really brought him. All of a sudden, Sugar Ray Leonard is the people's choice, and I tell you, everywhere he goes, the man commands a crowd. People's champion. Ray Charles Leonard is the most celebrated fighter in the world today. Yet there was a time when people doubted his progression from Olympic hero to welterweight champion.
In the early stages of my career, I was criticized quite often because people felt that I was being moved along too quickly. They didn't understand the pace, which at the present time is quite evident that the pace was successful.
July 18th, 1978. That was HBO's first look at Sugar Ray Leonard as he disposed of a gutsy Dick Eklund. His flamboyant style packed houses and silenced a lot of the critics. He was much more than an up-and-coming welterweight. Ray's quick feet and his gift as an entertainer in the mold of Muhammad Ali made him boxing's richest contender in history, thanks in large part to his lawyer, Mike Traynor, who wisely set up Ray Leonard Incorporated.
I didn't know how well he could box, frankly. I mean, I watched him in the Olympics, but I had no idea what the competition was. And that was James Morton's department, not mine. And I can remember asking him, you know, we've got everything all set up. Can he box? And he said, don't worry about his boxing. You set up the business part of it. Everything else will fall into place.
One by one, opponents like Johnny Gant, crosstown rival, fell to their accustomed place on the deck.
The early stages of my career against Prado and Johnny Gant was very, very critical because these guys, they considered in boxing terms as a sleeper, guys that were able to knock off a top prospect. And I was the top prospect. I was the future champion.
Finally, on November 30th, 1979, Ray knocked out Wilfredo Benitez to capture the title.
I think that fight, along with the first Duran fight, I lost perspective. I got caught up in all the promotional hype, the gimmicks, and what have you. What you saw with myself and Benitez was not really Sugar Ray Leonard because I was too tight. I felt that I trained a little too hard. I did not reserve enough strength because if so, I would have knocked him out sooner.
Then the media hype began for the brawl in Montreal with ominous Roberto Duran.
You know, people talk about how obscure his eyes are. His eyes don't do any punching, and he got to realize that also.
But Sugar Ray lost that historic face-to-face encounter with Duran, and the media questioned why Ray stood toe-to-toe.
People that come to me with talk that I didn't fight my fight, I should have did this, I should have did that. But I tell them, you get in the ring with Duran. You fight him your way and see whether or not you're successful.
That first fight, Ray, I thought, completely dominated the fight because he was really hurting Duran to the body. And I think it showed up well in the second fight.
Then on November 25th, 1980, Sugar Ray humiliated the Macho Man. Duran's cries of "No mas" haunt Ray to this day.
You see, the press, public, everyone wanted to say Duran was ill or Duran had a legitimate reason. Duran had no legitimate reason. Duran just quit because he didn't want me to knock him out. I hold no respect for him as far as a man's concerned. I respect him as a fighter. Don't get me wrong. I respect him as a fighter and as his accomplishments, his credentials. But as a man, I don't. I can't. How can I?
Sugar Ray Leonard, the charismatic 24-year-old WBC welterweight champion, who has become America's newest hero. If you think all the publicity has gone to his head, forget it.
He doesn't act. Ray's Ray. And what you see is because he's so consistent, that's Ray Leonard.
I don't want to be the guy. I don't want anyone to say, okay, well, Sugar Ray Leonard is the greatest fighter of all time because there's going to be someone else they're going to say is greater than you, greater than me. It makes no difference. As long as they say, well, the guy was okay.
So go to Merchant. Well, Larry Merchant is a guy who has been around Sugar Ray Leonard going all the way back to the 1966 Olympic Games. In fact, even a little bit before that, right through the time now when he is the welterweight champion of the world for the second time. And Larry has some comments on the champion. Larry?
In his two fights with Roberto Duran last year, Sugar Ray Leonard grossed nearly $18 million. He made about $1.5 billion more than the Ford Motor Company. So why is he fighting Larry Bonds? And who is Larry Bonds? For Leonard, this is the first part of a three-fight strategy. The next fight scheduled for June is supposed to be against Ayub Kalouli, the junior middleweight champion. And after that, later in the year, a big one against a dangerous opponent. Either Hearns, the WBA champion, Cuevas, the former WBA champion, or our color man tonight, Marvin Hagler. For the opponent tonight, for the challenger, Larry Bonds, this is like hitting the jackpot or the lottery. He's getting $100,000, more than all of his other fights combined. His normal job right now, his everyday job, is as a $20,000 a year garbage collector in Denver. What kind of a fighter is he? A stick-and-run artist, a clever fighter that nobody wants to fight or see. He's ranked 6th in the world, although he's only fought once in the last 20 months. Ours is not to reason why, just to wonder why. He's been asked about the pressure. Pressure, he says, pressure is working in the alleys of Denver with people looking down from windows wondering what you're going to do with their garbage cans.
8 hours a day, Larry Bonds is a sanitary serviceman, which is his own nicer way of saying a garbage collector. But first and foremost, he is a professional prize fighter.
I think what some of these guys are waiting on. They want to try to catch me out of shape. They want to catch me not in the gym. Maybe they want to wait until I be an old man or hurt my back throwing trash or something like that, and then they'll reach out and grab me and think they're going to get a name for themselves, but that's not going to happen.
Larry Bonds is a confident southpaw who honestly believes that he can take Sugar Ray Leonard.
I do everything different than normal people do, I guess. I use left hand a lot more than people, in the boxing game. Everything is always turned around.
I hate fighting southpaws, left-handers, because they create a problem, the unorthodox, and especially with Larry Bonds' height and reach advantage, it's going to take a little time to figure him out, unless he wants to be nice and cooperate.
Well, the chances are Larry Bonds will not comply with Sugar Ray's wishes. This night is too special. He is about to fight for the welterweight championship.
This is the opportunity of a lifetime for me. He shows me that he is a worthy champion. He's a great fighter, and in order to beat the champion, you're going to have to do it with style.
I won't throw no more trash. No more. My trash days will be over if I get the title.
Well, Larry Bonds' big moment is just about to get underway here. He is working his way down into the ring in just a couple of moments, has just left his dressing room scant moments ago. He did make one comment that I thought was kind of interesting, though. He said, I do plan to still work for the city when I get finished with all of this. And we said, well, what if you win? And he said, well, I'll work as mayor. We got plenty of boxing upcoming here on Home Box Office Saturday, April the 11th. And is this a good fight? The World Heavyweight Championship. Larry Holmes and Trevor Berbick. Larry Merchant and I will be ringside for that one, along with the man you're about to see, Sugar Ray Leonard. So live coverage of the Larry Holmes title fight, his 9th defense. And he goes against the Canadian champion, Trevor Berbick. That's live from Caesars Palace in Las Vegas. It all starts at 10 o'clock, 9 Central. April 11th should be a good fight.
Well, the last time we had Larry Holmes here on HBO, he fought an opponent, and everybody said, who's he? And who's he turned out to be Mike Weaver, and it was a war. Weaver is now the other heavyweight champion, of course. Trevor Berbick is the Canadian heavyweight champion. He's lost one in about 21 fights.
Well, I think that this fight here with Larry Holmes is going to be a good fight, because this Canadian champion, I seen him fight, and I tell you, he's got more muscles than anybody I ever know. I think Holmes can't be too easy with this guy, and Larry Holmes wants to, I think, defend his title, and also he's talking about retiring.
All right, you say you're not satisfied. You say you want more for your money. Well, tell you what I'm going to do. Monday, May 11th, right here on HBO, more heavyweight boxing. I tell you, we got boxing every month here. Back come June, we got another fight with the man on my right, Marvin Hagler. Jerry Cooney and Ken Norton, Larry Merchant, and Sugar Ray Leonard, and myself will be on hand for that one, too.
I think that's going to be a great fight between Jerry Cooney and Kid Norton. Kid Norton's a sucker for a left hook, and this Jerry Cooney's got one, boy. He's got a big left hook.
Cooney, an up-and-coming fighter, of course. He, too, is undefeated. He is 24-0, undefeated WBC and WBA #1 ranked contender. Norton, of course, the former heavyweight champion. Meanwhile, we are here for the welterweight championship. And on his way into the ring now is Larry Bonds. Crowd starts to react to Bonds. Bonds made an interesting point. He said that he's more popular in Syracuse right now than he ever was in Denver. He actually only had a couple of fights in Denver. In fact, there's an interesting point to be made about Larry Bonds. He was on the undercard of the Muhammad Ali-Lyle Alzado fight.
I want to make one point here as we scan the crowd. Sugar Ray Leonard has brought this crowd out. And the management of Sugar Ray Leonard is very mindful that this makes a persuasive point for his future negotiations against Tommy Hearns and others, that he's the guy that can put people in their seats. There's something like 20,000 people here in the Carrier Dome. That's a tribute to Leonard, who is everybody's hometown hero all throughout the country.
Sugar Ray Leonard, unquestionably the biggest draw in boxing now. As you look at Larry Bonds, very serious on the shoulders of his handlers. There is his record, 29 wins in 32 fights. Has had only 9 knockouts, but as we mentioned, he is not even really thinking knockout in this fight.
The one thing what I like to mention, though, is that about Larry Bonds, is that he has been 12 rounds 4 times. So that could be a great factor in this fight. He can proceed to go the distance a little bit.
Steve Cameron, a very capable columnist from the Denver Post, had said in a conversation that he had with Larry Bonds that he asked him if he thought he could go 15 rounds, and he said to Steve, "You'll know exactly the same time as I know."
He's also a very a realist. I guess when you're a garbage collector, you have to be a realist. Not to say that this is trash sport. But what I do want to say is that Bonds has said, well, if you lose to Sugar Ray Leonard, there's a big market for fighters who lose to Sugar Ray Leonard.
Well, there's all the up end and none of the down end. As you look at Larry Bonds' most recent fights, Babe McCarthy, he was a winner in 12 rounds. These are not exactly household names, the people that he has fought. Jimmy Jackson, he won in 10. And the immortal Costello King, he knocked him out in 7 rounds in San Juan, Puerto Rico. That was also an undercard. As you hear the crowd start to build now for the arrival of Sugar Ray Leonard. And there you see Sugar Ray's handlers just kind of cheering on the crowd here as he makes his way into the ring.
He has a big entourage with him, don't he?
He does.
They make sure that he's protected.
The record of Sugar Ray Leonard, 28 wins. Of course, the one loss to Roberto Duran, 19 of those wins coming by route of the knockout. And Sugar Ray Leonard has come into the ring. The crowd comes alive. On the back of his robe, it says, "I love Syracuse." So this city and the welterweight champion have a love affair. Leonard has been very serious about this fight. There has been no apparent dogging it in training. He's been here in Syracuse since the middle of March. Larry Bonds didn't come in until the 20th of March.
Another point about Ray, you know, they've been trying to build up Ray and saying that he's getting bigger and he might have to become a middleweight and so forth and so on. But when he got on the scales today, he was just a little over 145 pounds. Basically, he is a natural and pure welterweight.
You can see the standoff right here. Sugar Ray Leonard and Larry Bonds, and I would say Larry Bonds is at least going to get a draw here.
Yeah, they're almost mirror images of each other. They're both 5'10", both about the same weight. One's a left-hander, one's a right-hander.
Well, it should be an interesting fight. We're just about set to go with the welterweight championship now.
Well, right away now, I just see, Barry, that he tried to come in and put the scare right into him. We have to find out, see if that took effect on him in the first round, huh?
Larry Bonds has said he won't be bothered by all of that. He fully expected it. He expected the dancing. He expected the mugging. He expected Ray to talk to him. He said, that's not going to bother me at all. I'm not a kid anymore. Now all he has to do is fight.
Well, he's 29 years old right now. He's got to think about that.
You know, he's an interesting and very sympathetic character. We don't know if he can fight, certainly in this class. He has a full-time job. His wife has a full-time job with a telephone company. They have 3 children, 8, 9, and 10 years old, with their own home. It's not the story of a guy that they're picking up out of the gutter. He's a solid citizen in Denver.
He really is. The guy really seems to have his head about him. And now we're going to see what the test is all about in the ring. Let's go up to the ring announcer, Dick Tobin, for the introduction to the fighters.
Did you want me to move up there now?
All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, here are the few fighters representing Syracuse here from Geneva, New York, a young junior middleweight that has 23 consecutive wins. Ladies and gentlemen, Rocky Fratto. Here's a young fellow you all know, ladies and gentlemen. A very good light heavyweight a few years back from Syracuse, New York, Hal TNT Carroll. Here's another veteran you all remember. A welterweight from down around Ithaca, Dickie D. Veronica. Here is the former welterweight champion of the world from Canastota, New York, Billy Backus. is the undisputed middleweight champion of the world, Marvin Hagler. Here's the old veteran, ladies and gentlemen, from Canastota, New York, the former welterweight and middleweight champion of the world, ladies and gentlemen, Carmen Basilio.
Take a look at the tail of the tape now. Leonard, of course, 5 years the junior of Bonds. Very comparable, though, almost all the way down otherwise. Leonard coming in just 3/4 of a pound heavier than Bonds. 2-inch reach advantage for Bonds. Everything else very, very comparable. Now, whether or not they're comparable in the ring remains to be seen. Sugar Ray Leonard, of course, the champion. Larry Bonds, very much the underdog challenger. Starts to come alive now, and for the introduction to the fighters, let's go up to Dick Tobin.
Ladies and gentlemen, this World's Boxing Welterweight Championship is being presented for your pleasure by the Top Rank Incorporated, with promoter Bill Hanbury representing the Chamber of Commerce of the great city of Syracuse, New York. This bout is being sanctioned and supervised by the New York State Athletic Commission, the Honorable John M. Prenderville, the chairman. Also sanctioned by the Commissioner Fred Shook from the WBC. And the officials that have been assigned here tonight by the New York State Athletic Commission are judges Carol Castellano, Vinnie Rayon, and Harold Lederman. The attending physicians at ringside tonight is Dr. Armand Sankata and Dr. John Marola. And the referee for this bout is Arthur Morcanti. This is the main final bout of the evening. It's for 15 rounds for the World's Boxing Council Welterweight Championship. Coming here tonight from Denver, Colorado. He's wearing the red trunks with white stripes. He weighs 144 3/4. Larry Bonds. Larry Bonds. Now his opponent from Mitchellville, Maryland, wearing the white trunks with red stripes and weighing 145.5. He's the WBC welterweight champion of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, Sugar Ray Leonard.
You can feel electricity.
You really can. It's that way at every championship fight. This one is no exception. You have to look at the odds and say they're long for Larry Bonds, but nonetheless, there is that electricity.
Sugar and Larry. This contest for the welterweight championship of the world will be governed by the rules of the World Boxing Council. In the event of a knockdown, you must take an 8 count. The 3 knockdown rule has been waived. You will be penalized for any illegal blows. When I say break, break. Shake hands now, return to your corners to await the starting bell. Good luck.
Well, you saw the stairs. All the gamesmanship is over. All there is now is just to get to it, and that's exactly what we're about to do. Welterweight championship of the world. We're at the Carrier Dome in Syracuse, New York. Some 20,000 people on hand for this one. Round 1, scheduled 15-rounder. Crowd comes alive right at the get-go. Bonds comes out, circles. Larry Bonds, remember, has fought only 7 rounds in 11 months. Had a knockout the last time out over Costello King. First punch of the fight, sticking jab by Bonds. Bonds has said he's got to change strategies time and again in this fight. Can't show any kind of consistency against the likes of Sugar Ray Leonard.
It's interesting that the role for Leonard is exactly reversed as in the Durand fights. He's now the chaser instead of the chasee.
Well, you know, you're right there. I think this is the fill-out round here. You know, they're both trying to see what shots they can get in there. And I think that he wants to move right now and try to draw Leonard to do what he don't want to do.
Early in the first round here, first right hand thrown by Leonard, whistles by the nose of Larry Bonds. Bonds dancing in his own corner now, up on his toes. Larry Bonds has gone 12 rounds on 2 different occasions. So going a distance is not totally unusual to him. It's just the fact that he has not had a lot of activity in the last year.
Well, the way that he's built, by slim that he is, he should have great hand speed.
He's the kind of guy that when he fights well, makes his opponent look bad. Right hand to the top of the head of Sugar Ray Leonard, little damage. Coming up on the 2-minute mark, round 1, welterweight championship of the world. Sugar Ray Leonard on the left, that is Larry Bonds, the challenger, and a long shot challenger in the red trunks.
Main thing what I see right here, Barry, is that Bonds has to be careful when he's dancing around there, because he's lifting his head up. He's bringing his head up out of that pocket there.
Something to watch for. Right hand scores by Leonard. Larry Bonds also keeping that right arm down pretty well and making himself a target to the left-hand jabs of Sugar Ray Leonard. Coming up on the 15-second mark in round 1.
Well, I think Leonard's doing a great job right now behind the fact that he's cutting the ring off. He's moving side to side on him. And he's, like you say, he's the aggressor in this fight.
Larry Bonds still continues to circle now. Backpedal a little bit. We come to the end of round 1. Bonds looks Sugar Ray Leonard all the way back to his corner. But Leonard, as you mentioned, was the aggressor in round 1.
It's easy to see off this first round why fighters avoid Larry Bonds. He's quick and he's careful.
Round number 2 coming up.
Let's listen to Angelo Dundee and Sugar Ray Leonard.
Pick up the pace, Ray, that's all.
Very simple instructions from Angie Dundee.
He was just sort of measuring the timing and geometry between them in that round, and he'd just say, okay, let's squeeze the vise a little tighter now.
You all night long, you know.
Well, one thing you would know, Leonard has to...
There we see Larry Bonds receiving his instructions. And of course, the longer he goes as the champion, the more valuable a commodity he becomes for his future.
Can't emphasize enough, the biggest purse that Larry Bonds has had coming into this fight was $2,000. That was in his last fight, last April against Costello King. In this fight, he will make $100,000. And if he shows well against the champion, I would think more fights will follow. Leonard now pressing the attack against Larry Bonds.
Well, what you heard in the corner from Andrew Dundee told Leonard to pick the pace up.
Leonard, the master, right hand to the chest of Larry Bonds. And first time Bonds tries to force the action a little bit. Comes up pretty much empty. Left hand to the face does score, and Leonard comes back at him, ties him up. And Leonard draws a warning from Arthur McCanty for holding and hitting.
Well, Leonard's got to have a little nerve in him, you know, because I tell you, it only takes a second out there. He shouldn't be too careful. I mean, you know, he's a little bit too relaxed.
Well, that, of course, is the danger that everyone that has had anything to do with this fight has talked about. that it's very easy to overlook someone like Larry Bonds. You can tell yourself time and time again that you're not going to do it. Then when it gets down to it, you do it.
Well, you know he's very confident, you know, and you can see that he's just really just walking right on top of Bonds.
Leonard did score with an uppercut. And there's another uppercut, the left hand behind that to the cheek of Larry Bonds, spins him away from the ropes.
He's using the ring very well. He's cutting off Bonds. Bonds has got to be more fast and more accurate with his jab.
Bonds misses with the combination there.
Make Leonard respect him a little more.
Right above us now, Leonard works on Bonds against the ropes here. No damage in the fight. We're in the second round. All of that action absorbed by the gloves of Larry Bonds. Coming up on the 1 minute mark, round 2, welterweight championship. We're in Syracuse, New York. Good combination, scoring against Larry Bonds by the champion. Bonds tries to come back with that right hand jab. And again, a combination left hand right across the face of Larry Bonds. And another left hand to the face of Bonds now in his own corner. Bonds gets a jab in on the face of Leonard, gets himself extricated from that corner. Larry Bonds has only been down once in his boxing career. He was stopped one other time on cuts. 2 quick jabs by Bonds.
Barry, I think what we have to look for is Leonard's right uppercut and left hook.
There's a left and a right to the face.
That's going to be his baby tonight.
You can really see Leonard setting up his man with the left hand and then coming back with the right hand. Scores again.
Right there.
And that would hurt Larry Bonds, caused his arms to drop.
Bonds was just shook with that right there.
Bonds on the bicycle now. And Leonard again with the right hand lead this time. Another right uppercut scores for the nose of Larry Bonds.
Well, you see Leonard holding, though, behind the head and punching. One thing that the referee is going to have to really start jumping on a little quicker.
Arthur Mercanti did warn Leonard about that one time, so we'll keep an eye on that. That round, clearly the champions.
You know, in one respect, this is a good fight for Leonard because when you come off 2 major fights like he had with Duran, it's just so difficult mentally and emotionally to gather yourself for another big fight. He needs this kind of fight. He needs another fight before he can say, okay, now I've got to really go to work for a strong opponent. Let's take a look at some of that action right here as Leonard stalks Bonds. There's the right hand. Shook Bonds just a bit, but the next right hand missed.
Well, you can see that he's been training real well to shoot a lot of right hands at the southpaw. I'm very amazed at the stare that these 2 guys are giving as they're even sitting on the stool.
Well, Larry Bonds is giving good stare, but the left hand is giving him a bit of a problem. Bonds comes out for the 3rd round now. 2nd round was the champions, very clearly so. Let's see if Bonds does change his strategy. He has said he has to do that if he's going to have any chance at all.
Well, Barry, I believe in this fight here, Leonard's going to go more with power than speed. He knows what he has in front of him.
Leonard starts to wind up with that bolo punch again. He showed that briefly against Duran.
Right now, he looks as though he's just in the gym, just working. Taking his time and picking his punches.
And Bonds with a quick left jab, but not doing any damage. And again, Leonard gets the left hand in the face of Larry Bonds. And once again to the face of Larry Bonds. Right over us now, a right hand right on the chin of Larry Bonds. So Leonard wasting few punches, scoring with most of them.
As I was saying earlier, you can see how Leonard's just cutting the ring off from him.
Right hand catches Bonds that time up on the shoulder. And a right to the body that time. First time Leonard has gone to the body.
I believe what Bonds has to do is throw punches and loosen up a little more and make Leonard kind of respect him a little more.
There's a right hand to the face of Leonard that does score for Larry Bonds. Might have been his best punch of the fight. They're in the center of the ring now. Leonard flicks that left hand again into the face of Larry Bonds. Just looks to be measuring his man now. Leonard being patient. Right hand right up on the forehead of Larry Bonds, and once again his knees wobble.
That was that right uppercut I told you about earlier.
Leonard much the master right now. We're in the 3rd round. Coming up on the 2-minute mark of the 3rd round. And Leonard going to a windmill Bonds on the cheek. And again, Leonard comes back with a left hand, and the right hand follow misses. Leonard with a right hand and another right hand, and once more Bonds' knees wobble.
Bonds is hurt. I don't believe that this fight will last another round. I said within 5 rounds.
Well, Leonard right now just taking the measure of his man and has made a no contest. Spins him around, hits him with the right hand again, but Bonds stays in there gamely. Again, Sugar Ray Leonard stalking his man. 20 seconds remaining here in the 3rd round. Leonard after Bonds misses with a left and a right that time.
I think in Leonard's mind right now, he knows what he has in front of him, and he's just getting like a gym workout.
Again, a solid right hand to the chest of Larry Bonds. Bonds' legs still seem fairly strong, however, as he backpedals away.
Bonds would have to shoot that. He's waiting for Leonard a lot right now, where he would have to shoot that jab there.
And we come to the end of the 3rd round once again. A round that was all Sugar Ray Leonard.
Well, a fight like this is basically a solo for the champion. You want to see how he's going to perform, what kind of shape he's in, how he's taking his opponent. Okay. All eyes are trained on Sugar Ray Leonard, as we are here. Let's take a look at some of those actions and how Leonard is trying to solve his opponent. It's not easy to hit Larry Bonds with more than one punch in a bunch.
But what I'm so surprised about, it seems like even when he just touches him, he shakes him up.
Yeah, I was going to say, that right hand was not really the best punch I've seen Sugar Ray Leonard throw, and yet seemed to catch him somewhere between the shoulder blade and the chin, and still it shook him.
Sure. Well, with Bonds, he knows that this is his last shot. He's 29 years old. He's got to almost be the aggressor. He's letting Leonard take the fight away from him. He's got to be the aggressor. He's got to go out. There's no tomorrow in this fight for him.
Well, he said earlier this year that he really given some thought to quitting. That, of course, was before Sugar Ray Leonard gave him the opportunity of a championship fight.
Well, it's a great opportunity for him.
Round 4 now. Leonard has been the aggressor. Leonard has been the man that has scored. And the fight, I think it's safe to say, has been all Sugar Ray Leonard so far. He has had Larry Bonds off balance. Bonds has scored with a couple of jabs, but no more than that. Leonard still stalking Bonds right over our microphones now, sticking that left hand in Bonds' face, keeping him off balance. Another right hand crashes in on the chin of Larry Bonds. Bonds right against the ropes. And manages to stick Leonard with the right hand and get himself out of there now.
This is what he has to do right here. He has to be first.
Leonard missed with an uppercut that time, and that one sailed over the head of Larry Bonds, who seems to be getting a little bit more aggressive, almost as if there's no tomorrow.
Well, now he's thinking about it right now. He knows there's no tomorrow. He's
a guy who's not been known as a knockout puncher. He has had 9 knockouts in his career.
Well, right now, basically, I think what Larry's trying to do is he's trying to confuse Ray. But Ray's just keeping that jab in his face to keep him off balance.
Ray has controlled the fight. Once again, left-hand jab, and again a left-hand jab on Larry Bonds, and yet another one. Neither man is marked yet, but Leonard has been clearly the guy who has gotten the punches in. And another left hand to the face of Larry Bonds.
There's no way Leonard took Bonds lightly, and you can see that right now. He trained very hard for Bonds. He come in at 145.5. You know he's in terrific shape.
His punches are crisp. He's not wasting any punches. Seems to be biding his time. Completely the master of his trade here. Again, he gets Bonds right in the corner. Looks at Bonds, almost smiles at him. And again, a right hand this time in the face of Larry Bonds. And another right hand. Right above us now. That right hand missed by Sugar Ray Leonard. Bonds bounces off the ropes, misses with a left hand. Leonard above us again now. Right hand to the face, and the left over the back of the head. And another right hand to the face of Bonds by Sugar Ray Leonard. Bonds tries to fight his way off the ropes. Can't do it. 2 lefts and a right score for Sugar Ray Leonard again.
Right there was one of the punches I was telling you. Bonds, every time he tries to dance, he lifts his head up, and it's a target for Leonard.
And another left hand hurt Larry Bonds in his own corner as they come to the center of the ring now. And again, against the ropes, is Larry Bonds. Right uppercut got in on Bonds' chin.
This is where Bonds is making a big mistake right now by trying to stand there and slug with Leonard.
Bonds scored with a left hand, but Leonard scored with 2. And another right hand and a left to the side of the face of Larry Bonds, who again is a little bit wobbly now. Another left hand to the face of Bonds by Sugar Ray Leonard. The flicking right jab is harmless. Back the other way. 3-4 punches to the face now of Larry Bonds. Right above us once more. A right hand and another right. A left hand, and Bonds goes down. Bonds still on all fours. The count of 5, 6, 7, and he is up at the count of 7. Arthur Mercanti looks into his eyes now as time runs out in the 4th round. Let's go into Bonds' corner and see exactly what the situation is. Once more, Sugar Ray Leonard pressing the action and being the master.
What did I tell you? I told you, I don't want you with your hands down over there. You understand what I'm saying? I want your hands up. I don't want your hands down.
Telling him I don't want your hands down, I want your hands up. Easy advice to give for somebody who's not in there taking a punishment, isn't it?
Well, this is survival time.
You're bouncing around.
And Marvin, you picked the 5th round. You want to sell your bet?
Stick it in moving.
Well, one thing that we know for sure, Leonard is the puncher of this fight.
Here's a little Muhammad Ali action by Sugar Ray Leonard, leading the crowd in cheers. And the crowd really comes alive. Arthur Mercanti telling Sugar Ray, stay back, just wait till the round starts. And it's time for a little showbiz now for Sugar Ray. He comes out in a hurry, meets Bonds even before Bonds gets to the middle of the ring. And Bonds is in a self-defense mode here.
Right now, I think that he knows that he has his man, and he can exert himself with showboating right now.
Got a left hand into the face of Bonds to start things. Leonard is the guy in control now, has been right from the outset. Bonds tries to punch back with a combination that lands lightly on the forehead of Sugar Ray, and a right hand does get into the cheek of Sugar Ray Leonard. Leonard has his man right above us again, where he's done an awful lot of damage. Just relentless, will not let Bonds back off at all. And Bonds tries to punch back, nothing very much damage. Left hand did get into the chin of Sugar Ray Leonard by Larry Bonds, the challenger. Bonds still seems to have his legs under him, even though he's absorbed an awful lot of punishment. Left hand right into the rib cage that time.
Well, right now, what Leonard knows, he's not in there with no Duran, and that's for sure.
That is for sure. Right hand again crashes in to the cheek of Larry Bonds. Leonard has done the most damage when he's had his man on the ropes.
One thing what I see, he have improved behind the fact of fighting a fight like Roberto Duran. He looks very confident. He knows what he's doing in there. He's the master.
This is round 5, and a good right hand. Maybe the best punch of the fight by Larry Bonds, but back comes Sugar Ray Leonard with 2 rights that land on the face of Larry Bonds, and he gets out of there in a hurry. Bonds just seems to be on his bicycle, while Sugar Ray Leonard just seems very calm, very relaxed in the ring. Workmanlike, I think, is a fair way to describe it. Again, right above us now. Bonds wants to get out of there. Comes back with 2 jabs to the side of the head of the champion, Sugar Ray Leonard.
It appears that Leonard has decided that he needed a couple of more rounds of action.
That left hand missed, and another left to the kidneys of Larry Bonds, and that'll slow you down in a hurry. And now, once again, Larry Bonds' right hand is down by his trucks. Leonard that time misses. That punches to the kidneys really will have their effect. And again, Larry Bonds in his own corner.
What he's doing right now is he's waiting for Bonds to shoot that jab out so he can step over and hit him with that.
And there was a right hand once more that wobbles the legs of Larry Bonds. Leonard winds up with another right hand right to the chest of Bonds.
Leonard wants to step over there and kill them kidneys. He's waiting for him to throw that jab out there so he can get over there and use them ribs.
A couple of good solid punches to the kidneys. There's another one. And that has got to slow you down. Look at where Larry Bonds' right hand is. It's down around his waistband most of the time.
He's landed a few good punches on Leonard in this round when Leonard is loaded up.
And that is the end of round 5. And Larry Bonds has really taken a beating right now from Sugar Ray Leonard. Those kidney punches have just got to ruin your whole day.
Well, that'll bring him down. That's what Leonard's thinking. He wants to slow this guy down. He wants to make sure that he won't be doing that much dancing. And those, he's using his left hand very well, Leonard is. Getting over there, and those punches there will slow you down.
Just don't stay there, in and out, bang.
Let's go back now to round 8. 4. And take another look at the knockdown punch. Marvin Hagler, why don't you talk us through this?
Well, right there, you see what Leonard's doing is he's using his left hand there, but he got a little careless there, and he got popped too, I believe, in this round. Right now, he knows he has his man, and he's just really setting him up, looking for the big one.
And there was one right hand scored, came back with a right to the face and a left to the side of the head, and down went the challenger, Larry Bonds. That was in the 4th round. We are now in round 6. Sugar Ray Leonard comes out. Crowd adjudicating him to finish him off.
After letting up in the 5th round, Angelo Dundee told him to take care of the business and close the show right now. Let's see if he can.
Larry Bonds is trying to move around, bob and weave. He has slowed down perceptibly, I think. Uppercut with the left hand misses by Leonard.
Bonds is in there with the wrong man right now to be dropping his hands that low.
Unquestionably, and he has been doing that for the last couple of rounds. Another left hand. It looks as though Sugar Ray Leonard could score at will with the left hand. Bit of a mouse under the right eye now of Larry Bonds.
Well, I assumed that that Bonds would come out now throwing more punches after Leonard had caught him just as the bell ring. Bonds didn't seem as though he liked it that too much.
Another one of those left hands to the kidney, and that just has got to be painful.
See, Leonard's moving his head very well now, and he's looking for him to use that jab so he can use that left kidney punch again. One thing I noticed about Bonds, his hands are slowed down now.
That is a sign of a tired fighter and a fighter who's absorbed a lot of punishment, and that has been the case here as Sugar Ray Leonard, right from the opening bell, has taken command of the fight. Right hand gets to the nose, and Sugar Ray Leonard does no damage. Leonard comes back at his man now, just picking with the left-hand jab.
Bonds should be moving right now instead of just staying still.
And once again, a right to the kidneys and a left to the side of the head. And another left hand right to the nose of Larry Bonds. Right hand scores for Leonard. Leonard just not wasting punches. Combination. And another left hand and a right above us now. And Larry Bonds again tries to dance away, but is having trouble doing so. The mind knows what to do. The body is not cooperating right now for Larry Bonds. And Leonard dances around Bonds, misses with a right hand, comes back with a left and a right, each of which graze off the chest and the shoulder of Larry Bonds.
Ray has to be a little careful in there while he's leaning his head in and with his hands down. This guy here, it can only take a second. You never know when those punches are going to come out.
Coming up on 30 seconds remaining now in round 6. Leonard seemingly can do it almost any time he wants to. And
I think he's kind of surprised right now, too. What's keeping this guy up, too?
Combination does score by Leonard, and that came on the heels of a pretty good jab by Larry Bonds. Another one of those punches to the kidneys. And once again, Larry Bonds' right hand is down around his waistband. 2 more punches to the body, drops the right hand again, and right back comes Sugar Ray Leonard with a pair of rights to the face, and another right misses, and another right to the side of the chin.
Right now, Leonard's beating him as though he's his child.
Once again, right over us here, as Bonds tries to fight back with the right hand. Crowd comes alive, Mercanti steps in, end of round 6. And Leonard seems to be having a pretty good time.
Well, Leonard is, and Bonds is exactly what they ordered for Leonard for this fight. But if we ask Bonds to do more than he is doing, we're really asking to be a different fighter. He's not the kind of fighter capable of doing more, and if he could, he wouldn't be in the ring with Leonard right now. Let's take a look at that exchange at the end. Leonard hit him with 3 good body punches, and then went for the kill, but he didn't get it again.
Bonds is a little bit slippery. Leonard just can't understand what's happening right now.
They said he was a stick and move, clever fighter, and that's exactly what he is. Nobody fooled anybody. He hit Leonard a good right hand punch in there, but it didn't even send the sweat on his brow flying. He can hit hard. That's another reason he's in this fight.
Well, as it is, we have gone through 6 rounds of boxing, and we come to round 7, and Larry Bonds is still in an upright position, and there's something to be said just for that. Sugar Ray Leonard once more stalks his man. Larry Bonds dances. Legs still seem to be with him.
What I believe what Leonard's trying to do right now is get more work on the southpaw because he knows that he's going to be fighting probably Kalu, and he needs to work to learn how to fight a southpaw. So I think this is what he's doing in this fight.
Can't help it if somewhere in the back of his mind he might be thinking about you a little bit too.
Could be.
Don't
I'm not
you
going
hope.
nowhere.
Bonds still flicking that jab out. It is of little effect. And the champion continues to stalk him. But as we mentioned, there's something to be said for the mere fact that Larry Bonds is still in a standing position. And again, a left hand scores briskly on Larry Bonds.
Again, Barry, Leonard has to be wondering what's keeping this guy up.
He's hit him with everything. 2 jabs there, back him into the ropes again.
Well, you can see there's not an ounce of fat on Bonds. He's got to be in very good shape in order to take punches like this.
And again, he's taken 5 jabs in a row, now 6 jabs in a row, and still he's coming at him. Hasn't taken a backward step here. Another left hand to the face of Larry Bonds. Both men relatively unmarked now. Bonds a little bit puffy. Sugar Ray Leonard, same good-looking gentleman he was when he walked into this ring.
Bonds is really dropping his hands now. He's in the ring with the wrong person to be dropping his hands like that.
Should be in there with me. Leonard being very patient right now, just kind of measuring his man, biding his time, waiting for the opening that he needs. Tried to put Bonds away in the last round and couldn't quite do it.
Bonds is not cooperating. That's what's happening.
He's not at all. We're in the 7th round now. The fight is clearly, there's a right hand, and Bonds bounces off the ropes again.
Bonds is looking for a lucky shot.
Another left hand to the face of Larry Bonds, just enough to keep him off balance, keep him off of Sugar Ray Leonard.
Leonard noticed that his left hand is down. Bonds' left hand is way down, and he's just countering on that.
And a flicking left hand that time.
I believe Bonds now has got the butterflies out of him right now. It's about right now. And he's thinking right here, what I got to do to get this guy.
Got to find him before you can do anything else. Right above us now, Leonard has done his most damage right in this position, but this time Bonds gets himself out of there. Once again, quick left hand by Leonard right above us, and Bonds fights back with a couple of jabs. We come to the end of round 7. This fight will at least get into the 8th round. We're going to go into Sugar Ray Leonard's corner now. Listen to Angelo Dundee, his man. Leonard is the first to talk.
Yeah.
You know what you're going to do now? You're going to chase this guy and fight him. Forget everything. Tear him up. Uppercuts, right hands to the kidney. Fight him. That's all. Fight him.
Fight him.
That's what I want you to do. Fight him. You get him out of there. If you stay in one clinch for about a half a minute, he'll fall. But tear up the uppercuts when you're doing it. With both hands. You know what I mean, Ray? Both hands. I know, but
I think you heard exactly what Angelo Dundee wants his man to do. Hit him with the uppercuts. Go fight him, he said. Fight him. And Ray Leonard said, you want me to fight him? He said, yeah, so let's see now if that's what happens.
He also said, Leonard there, he said, you know, he's awkward to fight.
Well, right now, I believe that Leonard has to put the pressure on him right now, like Angelo Dundee said, because he make Leonard look bad right now by not even putting this guy away.
So let's see if it's an intense Sugar Ray Leonard. Sticks a quick right hand out to start things here. Look for the uppercuts. That's what Angelo Dundee had said. With both hands, he said. But he's got to get close first. And again, Larry Bonds still bouncing up on his toes. Leonard bangs away to the body with about 4 punches. Done a lot of damage to the body of Larry Bonds. And again to the body, just waiting to drop the hands of Bonds.
Well, right now, he's still not doing what Angelo told him. Angelo told him to go in and fight this guy. And he's got to put a little bit more pressure on Bonds so that Bonds don't make him look that bad out there. People are wondering now what's keeping Bonds up.
Well, Bonds, other than the one time that he did go down, has not really appeared to be seriously hurt. He's been shaken a few times.
That was a good jab by Bonds right there.
Ray continues to stalk him. Bonds continues to stay up on his toes, so his legs have not gone.
Bonds is trying to be sneaky right now, and he wants to fire a left hand, just as he just did. He's looking at Leonard's body with his right jab, and he's want to fire the left hand upstairs.
The right hand to the nose that time of Larry Bonds by Sugar Ray Leonard. The left hand upside of the head.
His hands are really dropping, this Bonds. His hands are really dropping really low now.
Another left hand scores, and another left hand scores by Leonard. Bonds misses with a right hand. Leonard back with a right hand. Wild right hand misses right above us. And again, Leonard gets his man on the ropes, but Bonds dances away. Leonard has done his most damage on the ropes right above us here. Bonds tries to fight out of the corner, brings the crowd alive here.
I think the question is whether Sugar Ray Leonard is really capable of being that kind of brawler that Dundee wants him to be here.
Well, he knows
that's not his style.
No, it isn't, and you know, it takes a lot. The only way that Leonard's going to do that if he really gets this guy seriously hurt. He's not walking up on top of this guy like he was the first couple of rounds.
No, he's not actually. A left and a right above us again. Bonds tries to spin away and ties Leonard up on the ropes. Once again, Leonard continuing to stalk Larry Bonds. Left hand sticks in on his face, but Larry Bonds still up on his toes, still dancing. And I think your point is well taken, Marvin. He is not in as clear command of the fight as he was at the get-go.
I think what Leonard's trying to do right now is still concentrate on wearing his man down a little more and then go in for the kill.
So it appears that Larry Bonds is going to weather the 8th round here. And in fact, there's been no serious damage upon his body in the last 2 rounds.
Well, you found out against Obel Mejias that it's easier said than done.
Believe it. This man here just wouldn't go down there for the beginning. And I tell you, I give him a lot of credit. I thought I had him there earlier, and I was amazed at him coming back so strong.
Well, we told you earlier about all the boxing upcoming here on HBO. Saturday, April 11th. Larry Merchant, Sugar Ray Leonard, and I are going to be in Las Vegas, Nevada at Caesars Palace for the World's Heavyweight Championship fight. Larry Holmes, the heavyweight champion, against Trevor Berbick. And people are telling us that Trevor Berbick is training very much in the manner of Marvin Hagler. And here's a guy who really could be a factor, as Larry Merchant mentioned before, and there he is. That is young Ray Leonard. That is a cute kid.
He loves his father, that's for sure.
He does. Not a bad little actor either.
You know, every round that Bonds goes is like money in the bank, because now contenders are going to come out and try to get Bonds and say, well, I knocked him out in 5 rounds or 6 rounds, so I should deserve to fight Sugar Ray Leonard.
You're absolutely right. Right now, Leonard's starting to put the pressure on the way how Dundee wanted him to do the last round. Every time that the bell rings at the end, Bonds takes a deep breath.
He said, I did another one. We're in the 9th round here of the Welterweight Championship at the Carrier Dome in Syracuse. Sugar Ray Leonard has been in command, but he has been unable to put away the game challenger, Larry Bonds. Bonds now starting to get a little bit flat-footed. That may be because he might be looking just to slip a punch in on Ray Leonard. He's been on his toes most of the fight. His legs have stayed with him. He's been hurt, but he's been dead game.
You have to also wonder right now, is that southpaw style kind of bothering Leonard that he can't really zero in on this guy? You have to really start to wonder that right now.
And the next guy he's going to fight is a knockout puncher, Ayub Kaluli. He is also a left-hander, but he's a more upright left-hander, maybe not as mobile as Larry Bonds, but a bigger hitter than Larry Bonds. And if this is bothering him, then what is a guy who can hit going to do to him?
And plus a champion at that. So they're both, you're talking about, earlier we were talking about how the champion has a little more of an edge now. Well, then you're going to have 2 champions in there, and that should be a great fight.
Sugar Ray Leonard now in the center of the ring against Larry Bonds. 2 jabs get in on Bonds' face. Bonds comes right back with a combination that scores against Leonard.
I still feel as though that Leonard should stay in the welterweight division and control it, because you have a lot of welterweights coming up, and he can still bring the money in the welterweight division.
Right hand zings into the chin of Larry Bonds again, but Bonds bounces away from it once more.
I just heard a man say he doesn't want to make a few $1 million for fighting Sugar Ray Leonard.
No, I didn't say that.
Well, Leonard is growing. He had a little bit of trouble getting to the weight for this fight, as a matter of fact, and he may have to get into the middleweight division, not even by choice. There's a right hand that scores against Larry Bonds, and Bonds hangs on.
Well, one day, I believe that if we do ever fight, it would be the biggest fight that anybody ever seen, bigger than the Duran fight.
I think it will be. with two outstanding fighters. I mean, it would be deservedly so the biggest fight.
You would also see skill, class, everything.
Here's a right hand that really crashes in to the face of Larry Bonds. And that opens up the nose of Larry Bonds for the first time. There is a little blood in the fight as Bonds bleeds from the nose, and Leonard relentlessly pounds away to the body of Larry Bonds against the ropes. And Bonds now seems unable to get off the ropes. Now he spins Leonard away. Best flurry of the fight for Sugar Ray Leonard. And again, combinations, but Bonds remains on his feet.
Well, right now it seems like Leonard's really starting to get a workout right now. It's not so easy as he thought it was going to be.
Comes to the end of the 9th round, and Larry Bonds will now get on into 10 rounds. And that, I think, has surprised most of the fans here at the Carrier Dome.
It has certainly surprised Leonard. Bonds looked at him at the end of that round and said, "Here I am, I'm still here." You'd have never guessed it, did you?
The original Who'da Thunk It.
Let's take a look at this action here. This is a very good exchange for Leonard. And Ray Leonard is not a great puncher, obviously. He's not been able to handle this fellow, not been able to really hurt him. He knocked him down earlier, but he hasn't really dazed him, hasn't buckled his knees.
No, but you can see that those punches there are starting to take their tolls on Bonds.
Punches to the body have really been telling. Ray has had probably a half a dozen good, solid punches to the kidneys. And we go to round 10.
Venus, you do it. Dance with him, baby. Dance with him.
Larry Bonds' corner saying, "Dance with him, baby. Dance with him." And Larry Bonds does a little of the Sugar Ray Leonard intimidation trick.
I think Bonds just wanted to go to 10 rounds right now, and he knows he's been that before. And now he's starting to feel a little bit more at ease.
That may be his first mistake.
It could be.
Crowd comes alive as Leonard stalks his man. Left hand whistles past the face of Larry Bonds. Bonds with a couple of jabs, tries to slug it out with Leonard in the center of the ring. Leonard comes after him now. Pace of the fight picking up here as Larry Bonds continues to dance.
Bonds still shouldn't be dancing like that there with his hands down, not with the speed of Ray Leonard.
Gets off the ropes again. Leonard has done the most damage on the ropes. Bonds throws a left hand, and now Leonard does a little hoochie coo. Couple of right hands that time by Larry Bonds. Leonard again now gets his man in the corner. Right hand, solid right hand to the jaw of Larry Bonds. Bonds in the corner right above us again. Leonard tries to measure him, slips a right hand.
I believe what's going to take a toll on Bond, I believe his face is going to start swelling in a little while. Leonard had his nose bleeding around before, and I believe that his face is going to take a big toll. Maybe puffy around the eyes, and that's kind of hard when you're in there because you can't see.
Leonard looking right into the eyes of his man now. Back to the stomach he goes, a right to the kidney, a right to the face of Larry Bonds. Bonds goes flat-footed now.
Leonard's back in there right now using the straight right hand again.
Right hand right to the nose of Larry Bonds, and a left and a right. Two punches solidly score on Bonds, and another right hand to the face. Bonds tries to get out of trouble along the ropes, takes another right hand, spins away, legs wobbly. Combination again scores by the champion. And Bonds ties him up. And as Marvin Hagler said, a little puffiness around the eyes now of Larry Bonds.
I don't think that he can see very well right now. And I think Leonard knows that because his eyes, they're shut closed in a little while.
Eyes really tell a story, don't they? Leonard having it his way, has had it his way most of the fight. The only thing he hasn't been able to do is put his man away.
I believe the punch that Leonard should be using more right now is the left hook on the side of that swollen eye.
Well, he has Bonds' hands down around his waist. Bonds tries to fight back. Bonds is hurt now. Doubles up in the corner. Combinations. Down goes Bonds. Leonard hands over his head. And I don't know if Bonds is going to get up from this one.
I don't think so because it was that belly shot that did it.
Right to the solar plexus, and it'll be all Bonds can do to get up. Arthur Mercanti wipes his gloves off, and we will continue. But Bonds is hurt. No question about it.
Those you can't shake.
Coming up on 15 seconds in a round, Leonard is trying to put his man away, hammering Bonds. Arthur Mercanti jumps in, says, "That's it. That's it. The fight is over." And Sugar Ray Leonard retains the championship against a dead game Larry Bonds. And it was the blows to the stomach, Marvin, that really made the difference in the fight.
That's what it was. Took all the fight right then, right out of him. And Leonard knew it. He just stood there and he tried to hang in there with him, but he knew he was outclassed and he was outbeaten.
Now let's talk about what the critics are going to say. If you were a critic of this fight, what would you say about the performance of the champion?
Well, Leonard looked very good today, and like I said, you can tell that he trained for this fight. No way he took Bonds that lightly.
Well, Larry Bonds, I think you have to say, was a dead game competitor. He was unable to really put his man away. Marvin, let's take a look at the last moments of this fight. Good right hand there, good combinations, and down he went. But as you mentioned earlier, it was the blows to the stomach just before that that really put the man in trouble.
There it is right there. That was the right to the solar plexus, and those there you can't shake.
You just can't catch your breath, and it's the kind of thing that just puts you away almost before the last punch put him away. One more look, and the champion is still the champion, Sugar Ray Leonard, retaining his title against a very tough guy who was really not expected to be quite as tough as he was. Larry Bonds was never really any kind of an offensive threat right from the opening round. Leonard dictated the pace of the fight, and he controlled the fight. But nonetheless, you have to say it was really something for the challenger from Denver, who has not had a fight in 11 months, to stay around as long as he did against Sugar Ray Leonard tonight.
Done very well, I thought. And this man here should be given the credit that he deserved by even getting in there with a guy like Sugar Ray Leonard.
And I think it'll not only be a good payday for him, it'll be good for his career, too, because as Larry Merchant said, he's going to start to get fights now.
Sure. Well, at least he's $100,000 richer today.
Well, he is that. It was a good payday for him. I'm sure more fights are going to come because, as Larry mentioned, it was a point well taken that now other people are going to say, look, it took Sugar Ray Leonard 10 rounds to knock this guy out. I can do it in 5. I can do it in 4. So I think it's going to be good news all the way around for the man, the challenger, Larry Bonds. One more look at the last flurry in the fight. The right hand up to the side of the cheek, but really, it was the blow to the stomach that really made the difference. And the champion, Sugar Ray Leonard, remains so. So Bonds, a game fighter, and that's really, I guess, really what you have to say about the man. He was that. Stayed around a lot longer than he was. I don't know if he had an earlier plane reservation, but Larry Bonds is going to have to stay over because you can't get out of Syracuse on Saturday night.
Well, right here,
Once
now,
again,
Leonard's catching him with some very good shots here. He's taking his time. He's just putting all his punches together.
Now, what do you see Sugar Ray Leonard doing against a guy like Kaluli, who he can't quite throw caution to the wind against a guy like that as much as he could against Larry Bonds?
Well, I think that right here, this fight here helped Leonard to try to figure out the southpaw style, but he can't realize, I mean, he can't understand what kept this guy in there that long. It would have to be his southpaw style.
Would you have liked to have Sugar Ray Leonard on a night like this?
Oh, beautiful. With a crowd like this of 20,000 people, it's got to be great money.
Okay, we are just about set to go now to the center of the ring, and ring announcer Dick Tobin for the official announcement. Dick?
The time, 2 minutes, 22 seconds of the 10th round. The winner by a knockout, Sugar Ray Leonard. Sugar Ray Leonard.
Well, the crowd boos a little bit. I think they might have wanted to see an earlier knockout, but I still think you have to be at least somewhat impressed by Sugar Ray Leonard's performance. He was sharp. He didn't waste punches. He stalked his man. He did everything he could. Everything one step short of putting his man away for keeps.
Well, the thing is, right now, he got the job done, and that's what counted.
That is the bottom line right now. Let's go up to Larry Merchant and the champion, Sugar Ray Leonard.
Ray, was that a longer, tougher workout than you anticipated?
Well, see, Larry, now I think the press owed Larry Bonds apology. I think he put up a tremendous fight. Here, I'm giving a guy a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to fight for the welterweight championship of the world, and he put up a hell of a fight.
Why do you think people are booing at the end?
Well, Larry Bonds was a total underdog. I was a heavy favorite. I think they expected much more out of me because the press really didn't give Larry Bonds that much of a credit.
Is that the first time you've ever been booed?
No, I've been booed all my life.
What now? This is a workout for you. It's part of a longer strategy. Can you tell us where the Tommy Hearns negotiations are at this point?
Well, after I fight Kalule in June for the junior middleweight, then we can talk Hearns. They say this is just a tune-up for Kalule. None of my fights are tune-ups. I bring out the best in all my opponents. It's never a tune-up. It's a real fight, and as you can see that.
Was it awkward for you to have to fight the fight of a Duran, of a guy who had to chase the other guy? Was a complete reversal of your last fight.
I couldn't. I tell you, fighting Bonds or fight any guy of his particular style, I couldn't lay back and try to box him. it would have been no action. I would not have been effective. I had to revert to pretty much bullying tactics. I don't like that style, though.
You're not a bully. You're a pretty boy, and you just like to box. But you got to fight a boxer, as Angelo Dundee told you between rounds. You got to fight this guy.
Well, a guy like Barnes, he's, you know, with the use of his long arms and by him being unorthodox, it's quite difficult to get inside and become effective unless you bully the guy. I mean, Barnes could have stayed out and pop and jab all night long.
Thank you very much, Sugar Ray Leonard. I should report to you, however, on the stage of the negotiations with Tommy Hearns, there will be a fight, I believe, later in the year. One promoter has offered Sugar Ray Leonard, I understand, $10 million to fight Hearns. Another promoter has offered Hearns $4 million, with the rest to go to Leonard. It's just a matter of dollars. It will be settled. You can be sure that there will be a consolidated welterweight champion before the end of this year. Let's go to ringside now.
Marvin Hagler, let's talk about your reaction.